All right, checking in on morning number 3 of Nomad. Um, it's not as cool as it was yesterday morning, which is nice. I slept like a rock again last night. Um, there's a lot of things that have kind of ran through my mind while doing this. Because what some people may not know is I don't know how many square feet this camper is. It's a truck bed camper, so it's spacious enough, but not just ungodly. Like you see some of these ones that are being hauled down the road that just look like they'll swallow the vehicle up that's hauling them. But yes, I have power capabilities if I'm, close to power or a generator works. I have air conditioning if I have power. I do have a 30-gallon water tank on board with a hand pump to pump it out. I have a vent fan, or no, not a fan, just a vent for air to circulate. There's windows. I have 2 options to sleep. There's a overcab bed, and then the couch that I'm sitting on pulls out to a bed. There's no toilet. There's no shower, which is completely fine with me. Those are the conveniences of life. I'm okay with being inconvenienced, just because it's just how I am. So, when we live in a gluttonous world, and I'm guilty of it as well. I mean, most everybody knows that I have an insane amount of crock pots that most people don't ever desire to have, and I probably necessarily don't need, but I enjoy crock pots. But again, we live gluttonous lifestyle, so you go to the grocery store, and like I do, I pack and hoard food. But it's a reminder when you're out in the camper, because I have a cooler that looks like a fridge, but it's not a fridge. It's one of those, it's basically a cooler laid up on its side that has a door and a lock, and then it has a drain hose. So you put ice in there. It's an ice chest. And then the moisture drains out the bottom. So I don't use it as that. Hey, Sherry. I don't use it as a fridge. I use it as dry storage because I have enough coolers to go around. And the cooler that my oldest bought me a couple years ago is a really good cooler. And so I just use it and keep it strapped to the back. So you start to realize how it is okay to be a minimalist. You figure out what is the bare minimal that I need, what is it that I truly want to experience, what is it that I truly want to have, and then you figure that out, and then you scale it down just a little bit more because you've only got so much room within the cooler because you gotta have ice. So you begin to simplify your life in such a way that it's freeing, because you don't have a bunch of crap. You don't have a bunch of clutter to dig through. You don't have a bunch of food sitting around that you can sit and munch on because you just bored and needless eating. Now, I do have way too much stuff in this camper, and I have realized that on this trip. I mean, for some reason, when I started packing this camper, when we finished it last year, I felt like I needed everything that I had inside my house, inside this camper. And I don't need it. So once I get home, before we do another trip, I'm going to actually unpack this camper, and I'm going to only put in there what I know I need. Because I've got a crock pot, an Instapot, a blender. I did have a mixer, but I took it out because I needed the space, because I brought my ice maker, which I know sounds odd. It's a countertop ice maker, but if there was ever a time that I couldn't go get ice, I could at least make enough to keep my food from spoiling in the event. I have an air fryer, which the air fryer comes in handy in the event that I was to run out of propane. Because propane, I have, like, this is opposite of me. I have 2 drawers, an under the sink storage, which is really just access to plumbing, hand pump sink. You got a 3-burner stove. I'm not a weather person, so this is difficult to go backwards. I've got an oven. There's my ice maker, and Instapot. And there's one coffee situation, two coffee situations, and there's a third. So I have way too much stuff in here. But I have been able to just be in the moment and exist and realize that for years I have chased a lot of other dreams and a bunch of other useless things, when in reality all I had to really do was just scale it down and tone it down a little bit. Because with the silence comes the peace. And so a lot of people have just been enamored with the idea that I've set out on a journey with zero destination other than home, but each destination was just going to happen as it happened. And it was very exciting because I had no plan other than I was going to be in the camper and I had everything I needed, but I had zero plan. And that was exciting to me because then I wasn't bound by a set schedule. No, I can't do that. I can't have one more day of excitement. I can't do this. I have to get to this next stop. And I did that on purpose so I did not rush through this experience. Yes, I do miss home and I miss Jason, but I'm not going to shortchange myself by running home, because then I'll have regret. I'll have regret by not doing it to the full extent. And I know there's a lot of people who live in fear on a daily basis. And yes, there are things to be scared about within the world because it is a dangerous place. But you cannot set yourself up to be a sitting duck for an attack. You cannot set yourself up in posture to say, hey, look at me, I'm scared to death. You cannot walk around life living in so much fear that you don't live. And so there's a lot of people who are like, I can't believe that you would, set out by yourself. Well, I was by myself for many, many years. And so that's kind of all I knew. And it's okay to be by yourself. And it's okay to just breathe. It's okay. I have enough protection on me within the truck, on my person, and in the camper that it's not my fault if you try to break in. There's only one door, so there's only one way in and one way out in the body bag. And I've got safety latches on the door because it is a 72 camper, so it has an old school turn knob lock. I did not want to remove that because I wanted to keep it as 72-ish as possible. But I am smart enough to know that those are easily picked and easily messed with. And so I put on safety latches within the inside of the door. I mean, I have 6 windows. So when I do finally hit a Walmart parking lot to stay for the night or a Cracker Barrel parking lot, yes, that seems very odd. And yes, Walmarts have been growing increasingly dangerous to even shop at. But again, when you think ahead and prepare yourself, I have window shades for cars that you put up in the windshield that I have cut out to put along the inside of these windows so you don't see shadows. So they can't count, okay, I only see one body in there, I only see one person, so on and so forth. For that, it also helps reflect heat and keeps cool out or cool in, whichever way you want to go with it. So there was a lot of thought process building up to this adventure. Also played into a role that I have 2 options to sleep. So I went ahead and moved all of my bags and clothes within the camper. So that way, when it's time to get up, all I have to do is utilize the space that I'm in, get ready, so I'm not leaving the camper to go out and get clothes, come back in and get dressed, I put them all within the internal cab of the camper. You just have to think ahead. Other than that, another thing that I did pick up on is when I was at the laundromat and people watching, you know, we live in a world where men are weird and they like to make comments. And so my suggestion for anybody who would do this, attempt this, or anything else, I would suggest if you're going to do it alone, keep men's clothing with you when you do go to the laundromat, because then it looks and appears as though you're traveling with a man. Although I'm not a women's libber, no, I don't need a man. No, I don't need a man to protect me. But you have to give a false reality that you're not traveling alone. And so I did notice that the comment was being made, but then as I started folding Jason's clothes, because he left me with his dirty clothes, that the conversation abruptly ended when I started folding men's underwear. As in, okay, she's not alone. No, I'm not alone. Even though I have a wedding band on, even, you know, it doesn't matter. Men don't care. But these are simple things that I have noticed that you have to plan ahead and think ahead to prepare to give off a presentation that you're not stupid and you know what you're doing. Other than that, last night, yesterday I woke up, had my cup of coffee, 4 cups of coffee, but you know, who's counting? Went out and did some fly fishing, 30 feet from the back door of the camper. Very fortunate, with the host family that allowed me to stay here. So fortunate. And then I just existed until my little sweet friend come up and wanted to play. So I went out and hung out with her for the rest of the afternoon. And then it was time for everybody who's here to stop of their day. And because this is their, you know, they're in their work week, they're not vacationing like I am. And so I was going to cook dinner for them. And we invited some of their family members over. And we broke bread, all 7 of us. And we just had the best time. The beautiful sunset and the backdrop. Got a little chilly, but they did bring out the propane heater, patio heater, which really did make just all the difference. But if you doubt that the Lord doesn't bring people into your life at moments that is truly needed, you're really missing the point that the Lord provides a lot at the right time, at the right moment, and always delivers. And so the fellowship that we've had over the last 2 days is just something you just take away and you cherish and hold on for forever. So after I finish my cup of coffee and get things packed up, I'm going to head back to the AA B&B, which is our usual host family when me and Jason travel down here. They are phenomenal friends, and I mean, just they're hysterical. And, you know, I owe it to go back. I'm going to backtrack today. I'm not going to hopscotch my way closer to home, and it's not that far. It's like 15 minutes, but I'm gonna backtrack today, head back their direction,